First, we're going to breathe in new energy into the center of the body. Breathe it in. Hold, releasing everything you don't need out your feet to the center of planet Earth. Repeat after me. I call back.
I call back
all of my own energy
from across all time,
space,
dimensions, realities,
people, places, and things,
and
anywhere else. My own energy maybe is called back
into
the center of my body.
Now,
breathe it in. Hold. See the energy spinning all around you, above and below you, throughout the body. Releasing everything you don't need out your feet to the center of planet Earth. Repeat after me. I now ground my energy completely into the core of planet Earth, where my energy is cleansed, blessed, nourished, and protected by my loving planet Earth, my loving ancestors, and my loving guides. I now declare and command that all my energy is back with me now, and everything always turns out better than expected.
Mm-hmm.
And may we always leave more light than before. It is done.
It is done.
It is done.
Woo!
Yay!
Welcome, everybody, to the show today. Thank you for joining the Dose of Dia. It is my honor to introduce Mariah, who is a Gnostic teacher, author, and content creator. She has an MA in history, has lived in Greece, Mexico, and Budapest, and now lives in Canada. And she's known for her energy commands, which we just did, which was so beautiful, and has been dubbed the Gnostic Barbie. Mariah, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
I found you on Instagram, and you were just so sweet, and your content is right up my alley because you tell the story of Sophia.
I do.
And you brought me your book today, which I'm so excited to read. Thank you so much. Can you tell us about this book a little bit?
Yes. So the whole purpose of the book is to bring the alternative to all religions to people in a very simple, friendly, easy to read format, very approachable pictures, like you said.
Love that.
And at the end as well, there is a guided journey activation to kind of get right in there and meet Sophia in a text way.
Yeah.
So it really becomes alive, and the whole point is to first you get to know the history of goddess worship and the fact that it's the oldest religion there is, and then we get to know Sophia and the Gnostic, part of all of this, as well as the Gnostic story of the fall of Sophia, which I can get into in a moment. And then from there, how to connect to the goddess with like very clear examples. I even have a little recipe, I call it, for a goddess altar.
Okay.
So that's like, okay, what do you need to have a little, like this would be great on a goddess altar.
I love
We've got
that.
little
This
crystals
was
here.
So special for you. I'll post the pictures. They can't see it, but this was definitely specially for you.
Yeah, thank you. But like beautiful things, and then
to
at
bring
the
the
end,
goddess vibe.
Yeah, at the end to have that activation, and so that you walk away with a lot of background information and then your own relationship to her, because that is my MO every single time. Is I don't want people to rely on me for this magic when they can plug right into that source.
Yeah.
They can find Sophia, have your own relationship to her, and it is a relationship like you would have a relationship with a person. It takes work, it takes effort on our side, and then once you do that, once you start to engage in that way, you realize that she's been there the whole time. It's the same. Mama Ayahuasca is the same figure. This is Mother Earth. This is Inanna, Ishtar.
I feel like this is like the exact same story that they constantly try to sell us with Jesus Christ, right? So if you just take the basic foundations of religion, like Christianity, and you apply that to Sophia, which I think is where it was stolen from, which we all know that anything created in the last 2,000 years is basically rubbish.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, to get into the Gnostic part of it, that's what the Demiurge and the Archons do. They don't have any real creative power, especially not like the goddess, but especially not like humans either. We have that wisdom. We have that like little nugget of the goddess within us too, and we can access that wisdom. They can only mimic.
Okay.
So they can only copy things. And we were talking a little bit before, they can't be in this atmosphere. They cannot be here because this is the dreaming mind of the goddess, and they just cannot be in that atmosphere. So they know that humans can, so they get into our psyche to work through humans to kind of screw Sophia up. And
which is basically, again, what religion is doing, but like traumatizing people with the devil and God or whatever. So I want to go back to something very important that she said. She said that the story of Sophia is an alternative to mainstream modern day religion. So that's what I want you guys to remember. Like, she's teaching you a different perspective. If you are only aware of the Abrahamic religions, or even a few other ones, this is further back than that. This is like the original story. So how were you raised? Just briefly, how were you raised, and how did you find this story, and who do you study from?
Yes. So I was raised Christian. I have that background. I went to a Christian private school, and, you know, like, so, you know, you had to pray all the time, and Bibles everywhere. So I have that background, right? But I've always had a rich inner world. I was just kind of born like that, I guess. But my biggest thing is I always felt like I would pick up the phone and try to talk to God, and the line was dead. Like, there was nobody on the other line. And that's, you know,
that's a perfect description, I think.
Yeah, just beep, beep, beep. Nobody's there. Nobody's picking up. Nobody cares. And that was my biggest thing, where I'm like, if this is something that is supposed to be, you know, all wise, all knowing, want to talk to me, give me the answers, loves me or whatever, why doesn't he want to talk to me? Why isn't that engagement happening? And I even tried, even throughout high school, I would go to youth group and like things like that. And I really tried to make it work with the Demiurge, the Abrahamic God.
Yeah.
And
I don't think people realize what you just said. So say that in like layman's terms. So you tried to make it work with the God of the Bible, who is
the Demiurge.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you have to also explain
how I got into this was I guess it kind of started when I left. Well, I was in Greece.
Okay.
In a relationship with a man that was too old for me at the time.
How many years ago?
This would have been 2018.
So, and you're not spiritual or awakened at this point, or you
I was spiritual.
Okay.
I was definitely into like law of attraction and universe kind of stuff, like that kind of vibe.
But not Gnostic deep.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, not that. Just kind of manifesting things.
Yeah.
Writing it down and manifesting and whatever. And so
the man.
Yeah, I was there, and we were in a relationship for 8 months, and he lived on the beach in Greece, and that, like, I could go for a swim in the morning and like go snorkeling.
Nice.
Like, it was, and he owned a restaurant, so the restaurant was below, we lived above, and like I just kind of fell in love with that.
Kind of sounds like heaven. Yeah.
And honestly, you know, I did really love him at that time, but kind of near the end of it, I knew that it was the end because I started seeing red flags that I had seen in my other like girlfriends' relationships, where I was like, that's your first red flag. You need to get out now. And I took his car and I left it in a city, and then I went to a hotel, and I saw them looking for, like, it was a whole fiasco. It was very dramatic. I had to make it to Athens on my own. Whatever. I ended up.
Were you kind of like escaping him?
Yes.
Sort of? Okay.
I took my passport, and that was it. I left all my clothes. I left everything.
So you were in a bit of a panic.
Oh, 100%. I was completely panicked, and I knew that I had to get out, and I was so isolated because it was like a little village town, and they all cover their own asses. They, you know, it was kind of like I started to talk about like, I was just like kind of asking some questions of like, what's going on with him? Why is he like trying to play these games and confuse me? Like and then they were all turned on me. So I knew I had to get out of there. And you know what? Thank the goddess that I did. And it was a whole fiasco. But to make that story a little shorter, I ended up coming back here, and then I kind of freaked out again, and then I went to the West Coast and with my aunt and uncle. And while I was out there, that was when I took a yoga class that had a shaman in there, was just like a part of the class, I guess.
Okay, so not the teacher.
Right. She was somebody else. And for some reason with that shaman, there was just this like heavy motherly
gravitation
presence that was like another being, and I felt it, and I was crying in that yoga class, and like it was a lot at that time. And but I remember that feeling, and I remember I messaged that shaman. I was like, hey, like I'm really like in a pickle in my life right now for a myriad of reasons. Would you be willing to have a conversation with me? And she was, and we kind of went from there. And I was like, this really does feel like the mother. And she's like, yeah, it is. And from there, I knew it was Mother Earth, Gaia. And that is what started my whole relationship with the goddess, was Gaia. And, fast forward 2018, I did so much healing. I got Reiki all the time. I was doing a lot of really heavy inner work, and I was staying with my mom, so I had like a safe space to do that, which was very fabulous, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And then I met Ruben, and we've been together 7 years now, and that also gave me another safe space to kind of explore more of my own spirituality. So that's
so beautiful.
Yeah, and then I was meditating every single day in the core of planet Earth with Gaia. That was like my little morning routine. I would do that for 10 minutes and really build that relationship.
And it was just Gaia at this point, not Sophia.
Correct. That's the thing. And it was only Gaia that I was working with, and we would have our little morning meetings, hang out, like whatever, and then I would just go about my day. But I took the time to do that grounding practice with her. And then, this would have been, I think, it was definitely after 2020. I think it was probably mid 2020 or something.
A nightmare year.
And then that's when I started to hear the name Sophia. I just kind of started to pick it up, and I was like, okay, like, I've kind of heard of her of being like the wife of God. Like, ugh, like I don't really want to get into that. I don't need another Christian thing, right? Like
you
I
just kind of dusted it off.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so, but then I was in the shower, and you're in the shower, you get like these crazy downloads, right? And I will never forget, I had this huge like visual come through of seeing a blue phoenix kind of come from my third eye, and I knew it was Sophia, like acclimating her to me. And then I was looking I on the Gaia subscription, like the TV platform.
Yeah, that's the best.
And I saw Mr. JLL's video. So this segues into the next one. So that was, I watched he's only got one video on there, and it's just him sitting and talking and sharing the story, but it moved me so much that from there I was hooked. And Mr. JLL is Mr. John Lamlash, the leading Gnostic scholar, I would call him, who put back together with comparative mythology and using Gnostic sources and mystery teachings and his own, shamanic work in that sense, to essentially bring back and reveal the deepest of mysteries, is that Sophia, the Aeon Sophia, and I'll get into the full story, the Aeon Sophia fell from the galactic core, became planet Earth, and she is here dreaming us alive in every single moment. And that dream is real material. That's why there are solid things, but they're not actually solid.
Right.
It's some people think it's a hologram, they think it's whatever, a simulation and stuff like that, but it's a dream. It's the dreaming mind of a being that our human minds can't even fathom the scale of, which is why it's really hard for us to grapple with. So once I found that out with him, and I just like dove into his work, and I started to share my stories and whatever. And then we had our first conversation in, it was 2021, 2022, something like that, where he had emailed me and he was like, hey, people keep sending me your videos. Do you want to chat? And I was like, yeah, sure.
I feel like when you started chatting with him, it felt like me chatting with you. And I'm just like, oh my God, I love this person. Because like when you find people to look up to like that are teaching you something so valuable, it is inspiring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I appreciate the kind heart that you have, but it's nice that he also has that kind heart, right? So tribe vibes.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, go on.
No, but that's the whole thing of this work, is that you can't gatekeep it. Once you know that full story of the goddess, you have such a deep empathy for her that moves you to share it.
You want to spread it.
And then she moves through you, and who knows what's next.
Yeah.
Like that, I didn't reach out to Mr. JLL and start that conversation. He reached out to me. I've had tons of things happen like that where these other
he
people.
found you? You didn't?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Somebody else had sent him one of my videos, and he was like, hey, do you want to chat? And I was like, sure.
Oh, I thought you found his work. And
Well, I did find his work, but I was, making
that
YouTubes
is
or whatever.
Unreal, girl. I didn't know that.
He just showed up in my inbox. And then he showed up in my inbox again like a few months ago.
A gift.
Where I'd emailed him like here and there. We were kind of like, I got him to try Twitter for a little bit, and then he like got off because it's a cesspool, and I was like, yeah, I agree. But we had another conversation as well, and this one we agreed to record, and it was like we agreed to record it. I didn't even think that he would want to post it. I thought maybe it was just kind of like to kind of document the timing and kind of see like what we were talking about at this time. But
he posted it?
He posted it, and then and I thought that was really cool. And then there's tons of comments. There's people, they're like, what is this girl talking about? Like, she's not even interviewing you. It's like she's not even like what. And so, I commented back to one of those, and I was like, listen, this was a candid conversation.
Listen, Tux.
Where it's, we're just chatting, you know what I mean? But it is, now it was another like valuable conversation that we had. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I got to where I am. And I do highly recommend Mr. John Lamlash's seminal Not in His Image, the book.
I looked that up because of you.
Yeah.
I started watching multiple videos on YouTube surrounding him and his writings and his teachings because I love that he's a Gnostic scholar. They're hard to find.
Yep.
So the fact that he just ended up in your hands, that's so cute.
Yeah. But that's the thing, when you work with the goddess, like it's just what happens, and it's kind of what you have to get used to every time you kind of
dream.
Every time you dream, every time you want to do something new with your life, or you want to make a change or whatever, that trust is a hard muscle to build. At least, I don't know, for somebody like me, I can probably think most people can relate, that trusting the unknown. And Terence McKenna has one of my favorite quotes, and I'm just going to paraphrase it, but it's something along the lines of nature loves when you're brave and you can jump, and you end up finding that you're falling on a feather bed, not like a bunch of rocks like how you're thinking. You make the jump, and she's there for you. Yeah. And she wants to not only catch you, but at that same time, she's waiting for you to jump. She wants to see like, how brave are you? What are you going to do?
I was just thinking this the other day about how the universe wants you to dance with it. I love Alan Watts, and he says a lot of the same things. Yeah. And to be in your childlike, in your playful energy, where your heart is open and your mind is open, and that type of emotional regulation is very difficult to find now, which is why they're putting all the shit, like everything you talk about, right? The Epstein files, just the BS, that the wars, the genocide, all this stuff is just to keep people from that, I think, because look how powerful it makes you.
Yep.
And you're open.
And it's
a frequency thing,
it's
man.
simple.
Like, they don't want you to reach that frequency.
And that's because it's so simple. And I don't want to say that it's easy, because it's totally not easy. Like, it's very, like, you got to go through junk and layers to kind of get to it. But it is a very simple truth that the reason why it feels like the universe is always working out for you is because it is our original mother that like actually loves you. And you think of, an ideal mother just wants to give to her children, and the only thing that she wants from her children in return is to love the body that she gave that child.
Yeah.
And that's it. Enjoy.
Have fun.
Period.
Because she responds to your frequency, your vibration. And I really love how you take a lot of the positives and that's what you focus on.
Yeah.
And you're very aware of all the negatives and there's no doom and gloom in you.
Because that's what they want. They want you to focus on the doom and gloom so that grows, and you don't need to. That's the thing is, like, I think some people, and especially in the conspiracy community, I can say, and I've been, some people, they look at me and they're like, oh, just like this little blonde, like bubbly, she doesn't know, like, what's up, like, I've been down the horrible rabbit holes. Like, I've been down there. That's why all I talk about now is the goddess. And it's every once in a while, because I get these comments where people are like, what's the demiurge, what are the archons, whatever, and I want to explain it, but I never want
you to explain it.
Yeah, I never want anybody to dwell on that.
Don't get stuck on it.
Because that's what those rabbit holes want you to stay stuck on, is that there are horrible things and that there is entities that actually do hate humans, and they actually just want to see us fuck up, and that's kind of their whole MO. I would say that the Hindus, they've got a good grasp on.
Yep.
I was just actually at a temple this morning.
Ooh.
I went there with Ruben, my fiance, and then he has a friend from Mexico who's living in Toronto, so I dropped him off over there. I was like, have fun, have a little play date.
Yeah.
But my friend set this up because I'm personally, I won't spend too much time on this, but
you can spend as much time as you want. We don't have I want to hear everything that your soul wants to say.
So I'm going through like an astrological period per the Vedic sidereal, the Eastern astrology. It's not like the normal Western astrology.
Right.
So Eastern astrologers and the Hindus use this type of astrology. So
different sign other than Pisces.
You might be like that's I think I've sent you it before, maybe, where you can look it up in the same way.
I just don't think I understood what I was looking at.
Yeah. And that's the same kind of thing where it's like you will look at it and it won't make sense, and you look at it again and it's not going to make sense, and it's like you got to like keep kind of poking at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, all my signs shift back several degrees. So anyways, the point is that I'm going through something called a Sati Sati. So if anybody knows what that is, like it's
is there a short explanation?
It's Saturn is transiting my moon. Okay. And apparently, and I was, told by other people, apparently it's a pretty difficult one. I'm not finding my life that difficult right now. Okay. But I was talking to my friend and he said, you need to go see my temple priest and he's going to do this ritual. And I did that this morning where we fed the gods and we went through the ritual, and you do it in this way, but you give them water, you give them food, you give them milk. We had this fire going. We were, invoking all of these deities and elements. And something that really stuck with me was he was saying that he was explaining like a few things here and there to me, that fire is the witness of everything because it is the light. It lights up. You can't see without, now we have light, but fire and the sun. It is the witness to everything. But it was a very cool experience this morning, just to kind of see a religion that wasn't Abrahamic and get that perspective, because I don't know if you know anything about life paths, but I'm a life path 11. So it's
your
like
master number.
But it's very spiritual. Like I cannot get away from religion, and I would never want to. I just don't like the mainstream,
institutionalized one,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Religion, the word itself, but I know what you mean. You just mean about your connection, like your relationship
to spirituality in general. And I love learning new things, and it was a really amazing opportunity that I had to have that. And it opened my eyes up again, where I could see that it's like, it's not just Abrahamics out here doing things. Like, there are people that have these beautiful practices where they are petitioning the gods, and they already know them all, and the basis of Hinduism is I honestly don't know that much about it, but Shakti is the one that moves everything. She is the one that moves Shiva, so she is everything. Again, you have the goddess there, right? And you have nothing without Shakti. So again, comparative mythology wise, we're back to the same thing, to the goddess. So just go right to her.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, is I think some people, when I talk about the goddess, they think that, okay, you have a conversation with the goddess and then all your life's problems are going to be solved. No, she brings you the solutions. She brings you opportunities. She says, hey, go here. Hey, talk to this person. Or, hey, this person wants to talk to you, and brings them into your face. Or this opportunity is here.
Yeah.
And you have to actually do it and say yes.
That's just like when The Secret came out. People they jumped on it so quickly without understanding the foundations of manifesting, which has to do with your train of thought, your visualization, the words you speak, your behavior. So I feel like it's exactly like that.
Yeah. Where it's just, people just want like a one and done and then kind of move on with your
surface
life.
level.
Yeah. But it's not juicy enough, and you don't get to dance in that way. You don't get to join the dance because
you don't get to be playful.
Yeah. And that's what the goddess doing, is she's dancing all the time. And the Hindus too, all the gods are dancing, right? Like you have Shiva at CERN, right? Like, I don't know if you've seen that sculpture.
Yep.
Right.
Many arms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's in the dance. He's dancing, right? Like they all know that these are the beings kind of moving and shaking things, and they all honor the goddess.
Yeah.
So why not just go right to her, right?
I remember I used to talk about Hinduism quite a bit because, like, I get so annoyed with people when they just start 2,000 years ago. Like, what about 7,000 years ago? What about 8,000 years ago? What was happening in India when Yeshua was walking around the Middle East? People are not thinking about the kind of technology that already existed, the kind of structures that were there. They just I don't even know what word to use. So anyways, I always encourage people to at least go back to like the Vedas. And then you would realize that a lot of religion was extracted from that. So I think a lot of the Indian foundations of spirituality and having multiple gods is actually the truth, or closer to the truth than any of the Abrahamic religions and just modern day religion.
Yeah. Everything is teeming with such life. And I think maybe that's not quite what people realize, because you can't see it right in front of you. But, obviously you take certain plant medicines and you will see it right in front of you. And you can kind of see it. I remember I took DMT with a shaman in Mexico. And you can...
5-MeO or NNE?
Sorry?
Did you do NN-DMT or 5-MeO?
I did Changa. So it was like DMT and ayahuasca. It was only like a 15-minute trip, but
interesting.
It was. We went through this whole ritual, and I saw the light body of the goddess while I was doing this, and it was so beautiful. But the way that it comes on is, you smoke it, and then you see it like fade in as you get the high, right? And you can see it all around, and then you see it fade out, and you're like, wait, like.
I call it pixelating.
You feel like you can blink and you're like, maybe it's still there. And that's what I think, that it's just there all the time. We're just not
tuned in.
Yeah, we're just not tuned in. Our right brain is not open in that way. And maybe if it was open in that way, it would be too much. It's like, it's a lot going on, And,
absolutely.
And we need to have that kind of groundedness. But it is all alive.
I did the NN-DMT. It saved my life. But I also tried Iboga. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Is that the frog one?
No, that's the Bufo. That's the 5-MeO DMT.
Okay.
And so the NN-DMT is the one that you kind of smoke, like from like a white yellow powder form. Yeah. So yeah, we can totally have another conversation about that.
Yeah,
but,
I want to hear it.
I wasn't called to do it very many times. I just, I did it the few times. It taught me and showed me so much, and I just don't think I need to do it 100 times or 50 times or whatever. I got what I needed from it, and that was it. And now I have what I think is a very good grip on what the multidimensional reality kind of is, because to have an experience where you are completely removed from your body, but you still have your consciousness. Yeah. And you can still think and like kind of look around, even though you don't have eyes. Like, it's interesting. Yeah. It is really interesting. Yeah. So that brought you closer to the truth.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. It just let me know. And that's the thing too. When you do these sorts of things and have these rituals, you have to absorb that information and use it, right? Like you get information, you get knowledge from that, you get gnosis.
And
really.
it shows you a lot
Yeah.
over time too.
Yeah,
Like
it
6
blooms.
months later, you just have these moments where you're just a deeper person.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the most powerful part of it. And yeah, I mean, it just shows you how much is going on. And I do believe that there is that much going on because we are in her dreaming mind, and being inside the mind of an aeon.
Oh yes.
We don't even know the scale. And there's so much going on where it's like there's dimension slips here and that and whatever. Our body, our human body, and the DNA data storage is insane. I don't know if you've ever looked that up, but like it's like, I don't know, I'm gonna make it up now, but like 1 gram of DNA is like 3,000 terabytes or something crazy, where it's like a little bit of DNA can hold a crazy amount of like gigabyte data. People will upload libraries and take libraries off of DNA. So that's just that's just a little nugget, a little piece of information, right? So if you think about that in the human body, and the aeons made the human body, like what do they got going on? And if we're in the mind of one of them, there's so much data storage. It's infinite, right?
I mean,
so there's
it's like the ocean.
Yeah. So it's just continuing and continuing. And if you don't mind, I'll share the story of the goddess. So,
and also if you can explain in the best way, like what is an ion, what is the demiurge, what is all these levels.
Yeah. So for the purposes of our story, humans, it's worth, we don't go all the way back to the beginning because who knows. So aeons are, you can think of them as like generator forces. They are not personified at all. You can think of them like, have you ever seen like the Nagas, where it's like kind of like a half human body, half serpent? So I believe that those are depictions of the aeons.
Oh, so okay, because that's a very physical form.
Yeah.
I was thinking, are they kind of like planets because they have so many attributes?
They can take on planets. And so the thing is that it's just such a mind shift to kind of think in this way. So they are these creative generator beings that make all of creation. So I'm not going to get too much of like how that happens and where they get that, their seeds to begin with and stuff like that, because
is that the story of the Anunnaki?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
Could be.
Yeah.
I don't think so. This is like pre-history. This is so the aeons exist in the galactic core.
Okay.
We have a location.
Okay.
And they exist in male-female pairs. And what they do is create creations into little like nucleic acid packets. And they send it through the membrane of the pleroma is what the Gnostics call it. It means the fullness, but it is located. And this is from Mr. JLL, Mr. John M. Lash. If anybody's interested in more of this and they want to sink their teeth into it, go check out his work.
Where's the best place to find him?
YouTube is, you can find him anywhere. His website is nemeta.org. It's just how it sounds is how you spell it. And so this is what they do. They send them out of the galactic core to gestate into the galaxy, in our case, the Milky Way galaxy. For us, the human genome was created by a male-female aeonic pair. We have Sophia as the mother, Sophia, I call her sometimes, and Thelete is kind of who Mr. JLL gave him the name, but I'll tell you why. It's not that he's not important, he's just not as involved.
And is this supposed to be the god, like the monad in the pleroma, Sophia's partner, basically? Like,
yeah, so they're in these partnerships, these unions, and there is one generator that sends them the energy to make these things. But that's kind of what I don't really want to get into because it's so it's like mind candy. I think Dolores Cannon says it's like mind candy, right? Like, so you can think about it, but it's like, it's not really going to get you anywhere, but it is fun to think about.
Yes.
So Sophia, Thelete, they made the human species, beautiful human body, gave us all of these wonderful things, and they want us to express our abilities. But as I'm sure we can all imagine, and is no real surprise, that humanity has not made it multiple times.
Well, yes. Well, weren't they wiped out, though, on purpose?
Yeah, but maybe by each other, or who knows, right? So in this creation myth, let's call it, the Aeon Sophia, we got to, I think, we're in the 10th round right now. We are making the jump to the 11th in body. So
10th round, we're making the jump to the 11th.
Yeah, with the physical form. And so Sophia, she is thinking up in the galactic core. This is before anything happened. She is so like, what the hell can I do for my beloved humans to get them to make it work, to actually survive and thrive? So because she was thinking about a solution, and by sheer nature of what she is, this caused her daydreaming mind, her thinking mind, that was like, because you think right now it's like you can think of a daydream or whatever, it's happening in your mind, but it's cerebral, right? Like it's something where you're thinking about it.
Thought.
Yeah. So because she is this Aeon and a creative being, it compelled her mind spontaneously, nobody saw this coming, out of the pleroma without her husband, because she was doing this thinking without him. And that's what caused her to fall out. She wasn't supposed to.
She somehow separated herself.
Yeah, she should have been doing this with her hubby. What are you doing?
Like, what I read was like, there was no evil thoughts. There was no competition. She wasn't trying to purposely create without him. She wasn't trying to be malevolent. She wasn't trying to compete with him. She was literally just creating.
She was trying to help humanity. She was trying to think of a solution for humanity to thrive, and that compelled her dreaming mind to fall and breach the membrane, fall out of the pleroma into the Milky Way galaxy. And in that breach, because she did that by accident without her husband, she accidentally had this, like, in the texts, they describe it as like an abortion, like an aborted fetus. She has this demiurge. She has this offshoot from her body, which with no intention, and it happens outside of the pleroma, in the vacuum of space. The demiurge is shot off of her body because of the motion of all these things happening.
Interesting. So maybe that's why they created the fucking lie, the story of Jesus being born by a virgin, right? Just so much that you say I can relate to Christianity. But anyways, go on.
Yeah. So Sophia's falling. She doesn't know what the hell's going on. This is an anomaly. And in the text, it's called a deficiency. She has a deficiency because she fell without her husband. And that deficiency is what she created by accident, is the demiurge.
Do we know why the husband couldn't help her, or God, or whoever?
I honestly, like, my first thought is that it just happened too fast, that she was like, kind of like how you're looking right now. Like, how can I help it? Gone. And so now, in my opinion, I think it was just too fast and just shot out. And so
you said something really important. Sorry.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to be like, well, if he was God and she was the goddess, doesn't God know everything? Didn't he know that she was going to do that? Didn't he? And so I want you to tell my followers that it's a lie that God knows everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's another control mechanism that the Abrahamics
religion has taught people. Because when you said that blew my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because they want you to have this figure that is all knowing and makes no mistakes and yada yada yada.
So that you can accept all the bullshit that's happening and not question it, thinking, oh, this is God's plan, when it's actually not.
And feel less than, because you'll never be perfect in like God is, right?
Right.
But it's not even a thing to begin with. This Sophia fell as a mistake. Like it's an experiment. We are just, we are in this dance and we don't know what's happening or where it's going, right? But, you look to the Abrahamics and they say, well, this is going to happen here and this is going to happen here. And then they're trying to push the freaking
agendas,
revelations.
They're pushing all these stupid things, and they're doing it themselves. And so many of us know that it's not real.
No. And they're trying to push Revelation's agenda through the news media. They try to, whatever. I know it's just such bullshit.
And through basically Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just to siphon and take your energy from it. But anyways, she's falling through space. Okay. She's horrified. She is terrified. She doesn't know what just happened. And she's got literally her bastard son bothering her. And there's a part of the texts, and my favorite is on the origin of the world, found in the Nag Hammadi Codices. You can go find it on gnosis.org. There's a couple translations. Okay. And in that, one of the first little episodes in there is the demiurge is like, whoa, he's looking around. And he's like, there's no other gods but me. I am a jealous God. And
I am all that is.
Yeah. And then as soon as he said that, Sophia shows up, and it's called In the Waters immediately. And I think it's because she shows up underneath him, and she shows up immediately. And she says, no, baby, I'm here. Hey, you're not alone. And actually the luminous human that I love will defeat you. So good luck with whatever you're going to do. And then she,
and that's kind of how the whole game started.
Yep. Rivalry. Yeah.
Between good and bad, dark and light, the yin yang.
Exactly. So it was at that moment where Sophia is like, oh no, this entity that she has created, and that has a semblance of her power to create, but in such an inverted way because of how he gained life. And she even said to him, she was like, listen, we're all just rolling along here. Just do your thing. You can have your life. Do whatever you want. Just don't bother me. Just don't bother me. I've got, a lot going on right now. This is her dreaming mind. She's got the human genome attached to her at the same time, because that was, part of that, her falling out was, how am I going to help the humans? And she's out, and she's got the human genome attached to her. And so, that saga continues a little bit, and it's through tapping into that same, that's a Gnostic parable too, is the mustard seed, that little piece inside of you that is that divinity that is Sophia. And but yeah, so she's still continuing to fall through space. The demiurge obviously doesn't leave her alone. He creates his archons, which archons is actually translated means authorities. So from the Greek.
Makes sense.
Yep. And he wants to bother her because the only thing that is just so important for everybody to know, the only reason is because he is jealous of humanity, because we were made with a loving mother and a loving father in the pleroma in a way that was healthy and beautiful, the way that creations are supposed to be made, and he was not. Archons, yeah. So he made his own little worker bees and stuff like that, and they are, to me, these are the grays, and kind of at the same time they are also
reptilian, maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. And there's going to be different kinds of archons and stuff like that, but and again too, you don't want to get too caught up in this, because that's when they loosh farm you. They just take your energy. So, but anyways, getting back to the story.
You're absolutely right. And it's important to know that.
Yeah. You have to know it. Yeah. You literally have to say no, get out of here and live your life and move on from that. But so a very important part of the story is that the demiurge obviously didn't leave Sophia alone, and she is falling and whatever. And he starts to kind of push her off her track. And in this push, she, because of the push that she got from the demiurge, sheared the human genome. this caused the separation of the sexes.
She sheared it. So like
cut it, like
fractured.
Yeah, it's split in half.
Okay.
And that is why there's all the, you find all these alchemical texts of like man and woman being kind of one body with like two heads, or, things like that. So who even knows what we were meant to be, but caused that split. She left the male genome in the Orion star system.
Okay.
So this is why you can see in Freemasonry, there's a lot of homage to Orion. And I will tell you how men got to planet Earth in just a moment. But
okay.
So Sophia continued to fall. Eventually, she had the idea of, I'm going to transform my body into becoming planet Earth. Now, there is nuance here. Could she have even just been the flood? Maybe. And cause that to change things up? I don't know. Did she become a whole planet entirely? I'm not sure. Yeah. I don't really want to get into it because, I don't know, you could say this, that, or the other thing.
Nobody can say they know for sure, right? So that, yeah.
Yeah, but she compelled the moon, she compelled the sun, and she had her tri-body solution. The tri-body system is how humanity is going to live. That is the setting for humanity to thrive. So she became Earth with the female genome attached to her.
Right.
This is why the first people are women. Why there are all these myths of dryads and nymphs and half woman, half fish, half woman, half this other thing. Because we were here first, and every man is female for 2 months in the womb first. That's why they have nipples.
And that's science.
Yeah. So
it's kind of funny to create an entire religion without a goddess, right? The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Like, how much gayer can you get?
Exactly.
And then look at the population. Sorry, I actually love gay people. I'm just saying, but go on.
To not include that, right? So
knowing that every man was first a woman in the womb.
Yeah.
It's so
interesting. It's because that's how you get here. You come through the legs of a woman. And so anyways, to kind of finish this off, planet Earth is women dreaming creations alive with planet Earth together. That is why you can see all these like ancient mounds where women would go and dream and co-dream with Gaia in a way that was so surreal that would bring things to life from her plasma directly. And it was it was instant. It was very material. So that's happening. It's teeming with life. There's animals. There's things going on. Men in the Orion star system have developed into hunter shamans. So they eventually find the tendrils of energy, so like string theory kind of thing, that they can travel upon, send their consciousness through from the Orion star system to hunt here on planet Earth, because they saw it as like, let's go try it out. And they didn't know that they were like subconsciously compelled by their other half. And so when they got here, they had the priestess class to teach them how to be, number one, in a body, because they didn't have the same sort of body. They had this weird, like, kind of, I don't want to call it ethereal, but like, definitely not material, like a little, like, kind of airy, like, and they came on these lines. And this is where we were talking about before, like fallen. This is where they kind of, it might have looked like they fell from the sky, but they were just kind of getting here and touching down. And then eventually they would go through what they needed to go through. And again, this is, in some myths you have, I think it's Adonis being born through a tree. Like literally, they pull, you can find the images of like the myth.
Yeah.
Right. But they're pulling a baby out of the tree because the tree is the mother. And
interesting, giving birth to a child.
Yeah. So there's all these like extra like mystery traditions kind of woven throughout this. And then eventually, obviously, men and women kind of, realize and they can have babies and, and that they're meant to be together and all that stuff. But then men got, kind of too ahead of the power that is here. And they didn't respect the priestess class anymore. They took it. They took it and they tried to make it their own. And that's what we're dealing with right now is men. And I'm not saying all men, obviously. I love men. I live with a man that I love very dearly. And there are groups of these men from these ancient bloodlines that have twisted that and inverted it completely. It's just a complete inversion. This is what I mean with the demiurge and the archons. They have no independent thought. They can only mimic. So they see whatever it is and they see the truth and they just flip it upside down. So they take the myth of Sophia and turned it into the myth of Christ. And they take this and they just flip the gender and they just flip this just like that. So then, and if you were to question it, that it's like, oh, well, it's not like that. That's just like, why would they do that? That's so easy. Why would they just flip it like that? Like, oh, and it's like, well, they did. And this is what we're dealing with. And that there was a moment.
It is a form of their intelligence, right? They're like ripping off Sophia's intelligence and they're inverting it and it's still creating
and it's mimicry.
Yeah. But that we live in the world of duality, right? And symbolism, and almost everything has more than one meaning. And that's why like so much of what you're saying, I'm like, oh my God, this just reminds me, but that's just a programming, I guess. But that's why people are believing it because it's believable. It seems, but it's a double meaning. It's not the original story.
Yeah, and even our human ability to observe material into reality with our own dreaming power. And our own ability to do that given to us by the aeons. We have the ability to do that, not on the same scale, but we do have that ability. So they are trying to hijack that to get us to, manifest the worst by getting us to think the worst and whatever. But there was a moment in time, and maybe this could have been, Babylonian kind of time with the Anunnaki and those myths. There was a moment where the men who were in power stopped being initiated by the priestesses and instead took that and made it their own. And that is the crux of the problem that we are seeing today, is that inversion, that the lack of honor of women, period. Because women and the goddess share the same form. And if you can't honor women, and that's why that's literally the baseline of all those religions is the women have to shut up. They have to be covered. They have to do this separate and do this over here.
Inversion.
And you're just a rib of a man. It's a rib of a man, as if you don't come through the legs of a woman first. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
It's so cringe.
It's disgusting. And there's no arguing with some, but I get comments of some people be like, shut up, rib. I'm like,
oh. You said some things. I'm like, oh man, we're probably going to get attacked for this one, but who cares? Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
Yeah, but that is the story. It is a long story, but that's honestly one of the quickest ways to tell it. But
tell it in a quick way.
Yeah, and I make these short little 3-minute or less videos where I don't get into all the details, but what you need to know is she fell and now she's planet Earth, and we are dealing with a predator that hates humanity simply because we are loved by the goddess. So, like you said, duality. We have to kind of choose what we materialize into reality. So, obviously, I'm going to choose the goddess and let me give her that attention and keep building it and keep talking about her and build it so that obviously she is very powerful, but that it's like being in a game. And her, maybe let's just call her like the operant power. She can get us information from within here, but the players in the game, like you and me, can full out share this whole story and say it in plain English in a way that she maybe doesn't want to or can't or, whatever. But by nature of who we are within reality, within this game, we can spread that because we are inside it. And that's what I do now, because I find I don't think there's anything more valuable than being set free by the goddess. And that doesn't mean that you learn about her and your life just is completely, everything is solved. It's no, like you're going to have problems that come up and challenges, but the goddess gives you the solutions when you trust her, and you don't know what the solution is going to be. And this is kind of my biggest shtick is like, I always want to know. I always want to be like, okay, well, let me control all of this, and I'm going to decide that this. And every single time she's just like, I wish you would stop trying to do this, because it's better than what my human mind can even fathom or even whatever even think of. And every single time, you know, when something really good happens, you're like, whoa, I didn't expect it. Like my Epstein video going viral, I was like, I make tons of videos.
Yeah.
That one going viral is like so unexpected, but so exactly what people need. You know, it's your energy is going down a dark rabbit hole when you pay attention to Epstein. I'm not saying you shouldn't research and look into it, but when your energy stays there, not only are you giving that
like pendulum swing, you're giving it
all of
power.
that your energy, but they are feeding these same entities. They are feeding the demiurge. So like, just, you know, we need to know that information. Absolutely. You know, and sometimes people in the comments, they're like, well, we need to know all of this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how much do you really need to know? You need to know that it's going on. You need to consciously say no.
Create against it.
Yeah. And you need to build the solution, you know, whatever that means to you. For me, that is learning about the goddess, because she knows this whole thing. She's got the whole story, and they target and hit her where it hurts the most, which is children. A normal person cannot even think of. They are doing it simply, in my opinion, simply to hurt the goddess. That's all they care about. To hurt the goddess by hurting humans. They hate humanity too, and it's horrifying. It's terrifying, but you literally cannot, like if you want to leave your energy there, then that's how you go on a grippy sock vacation, and your mind gets into just complete paranoia and psychosis, and that is exactly where they want you to be. To ground it. That's, you know, another thing that I talk about all the time, is because, as I mentioned,
you're so good at talking about grounding.
You have to, especially if you're going to take this high level knowledge. If you take on high level knowledge and you don't literally ground it through your body into the core of planet Earth, then that information is not going to be useful to you. It's going to make you look crazy. You're going to be talking to somebody and you're going to be lucid, and you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm seeing all these signs. I'm seeing all these numbers and stuff like that. And like, yeah, you can see that. But when you ground it, then you can actually use that information.
Yeah, you're not just a scattered signal.
Yeah, you can be like, okay, you know, I'm going to, you know, write this down in my notebook and do a meditation or whatever. But that's when real synchronicity happens, because you are grounding it and using your body to translate all of these things that are going on so that it can move your life forward. And that's the biggest thing here too, is you always want to be moving forward. Now, does that mean that, you know, sometimes in life it feels like you're not, like, whatever, there are phases that you go through, but going down these rabbit holes specifically does not move your life forward when you're just spinning and listening to all these horrible things, right? And going downwards. Yeah, and going down the rabbit hole. And now your energy is drained, and now you're paranoid because everybody's out to get you because you've read this horrific stuff. And again, you're just giving them exactly what they want. And it's pretty easy.
Is there a quick way that you can explain to people, if you are going down a rabbit hole and you're feeling negative or depressed or like doom and gloom, is there any way that people can bring themselves out of that? Like, what do you suggest?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I did the energy commands, because to me, that is the easiest, quickest. Everybody can do it.
I agree.
It's totally free. And what I like, my little formula there is first, you know, and some people be like, oh, shouldn't you cleanse it first? I'll be like, whatever, do your own. I don't care. But like, first, you're going to call all your energy back because it's scattered all over the place. And especially if you're reading this stuff, like, your energy could be in places that you don't even know, and you don't need to know. You just need to call it back here and then ground it and you say that you're grounding it, you say that you're protecting it, you're saying that you're cleansing it. And then from there, you can kind of just program your energy field in the direction that you want. So it's calling it back, grounding it, and then programming your energy field. And this is, the goddess taught me this. You know what I mean? Like these are all things that I learn with the goddess. And obviously I'm not saying I'm the first one to call my energy back, obviously not, but I've been,
I mean, yours worked for me. It stuck with me.
Yeah.
There's different versions of it, but like there was just something about your vibe and your energy that stuck with me. And that's why I loved that. And that's why I wanted to start this podcast off with that. And that's why nobody should raw dog life without this Gnostic Barbie. And so you should definitely look up her Instagram account. And when you're feeling stuck and you're feeling low, go watch her videos, you know, like go repeat after her, call your energy back to you. Like this shit is real.
It is real. And you know what? Like, what's the worst case scenario if you do a little energy command, repeat after me? Well, worst case, it doesn't work. I have some energy commands up there that are literally commanding that you're casting the archons and the demons out of your energy field.
You have to work at it. You have to try. Even manifesting, you have to try. When you pray, you have to continuously pray. Yeah. It's not just an meditating alone. You have to continuously to get better at it. So the more people call their energy back to them, they'll even just start to memorize it. Yeah. And, you know, do it themselves.
Exactly.
But, I think a lot of people are not really used to this. So that's why I'm happy that we have this as a foundation for people to just kind of learn and explore.
Yeah. Yeah. And even, I mean, on my Instagram and my TikTok, I have like highlights on Instagram and then playlists on TikTok. So if you like are like, oh, okay, I don't know where to start. I mean, I do them nearly every day. So you can just go on my page, but you can check through the highlights and kind of click through and be like, okay, what is this? I'm feeling this way. I'm going to call my energy back for this purpose.
Yeah. So just go over your YouTube, your TikTok, and your Instagram to make sure you say it.
I should make them all one username, but I haven't. But
whatever, just say it clearly so people know
my
where to
YouTube
find you.
is Mariah KCG44. Okay. You can also find me with Mariah de Aurum. That was like my Twitter name a long time ago, but I've just kind of been running with it.
And that's DEARUM.
Yeah. It means of gold. And Instagram is Mariah KCG. And TikTok is Uraeus de Aurum. This is the one that's like a little.
I'm gonna spell that.
Yeah, URAEUSDEAURUM.
I have faith in you guys. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. But I mean, I post the same things to Instagram, so it's not like one has like exclusive content. But on my YouTube, you do get long form content, and then. This is always tagged in all of my, I mean, I have got all my links cross-posted everywhere. But I do have a Patreon as well where I post exclusive rituals and meditations. And that for me is just kind of like, they're ones that are, I just don't want them publicly available. Yeah, and there's just rituals that are, they're very special to me. And
maybe not everybody's ready for that, right? Like, it's just like the Nag Hammadi was buried, that library surfaced when it was ready, right?
Yeah, because it's the rituals that I do provide effective change. And, you know, you do kind of have to step up to fully live in that. But I will say that literally the day that I started to go viral was the day that I had recorded my bloodline healing ritual that is up on my Patreon. It was that same day.
Okay, so I need to go directly to that.
Yeah.
That's like my priority.
Yeah, I can send it to you. Yeah. Because it's, this is something else that we won't get too much into it, but something that I've just been playing with and thinking about is, you know, you were mentioning that we kind of have this block past 2,000 years, right? Like I have my own personal block past my grandparents, right? Like I don't know, I don't have genealogy. My family was never into that, but obviously your blood comes through and we have this ancients within us right now. So it's like, we don't know where they come from or what they're going, but if you heal your bloodline and you tap into it, you can extract information and pull it forward. You can open up that magic and bring that forward. But you know, there could be attachments and agreements that somebody way back in your bloodline made with an entity, and nobody said, hey, get out of here yet.
Yeah.
Right? And it just takes somebody to take that initiative and say, you know what, I'm going to clear my bloodline of this, and I'm going to heal the bloodline and allow that to come through from a place of wisdom, because this is how healing gets passed down, is by continuing to do that. Because not only do you heal your own personal situation, but you heal back. And then your ancestors, they make themselves very known, and they really help, and they really move things in the unseen, I call it. But yeah, I've been getting into that lately, working with the dead, because Ruben is Mexican. So Dia de los Muertos, ancestors are always acknowledged and honored. And that's, I don't even know what my culture is. White culture doesn't do that.
Yeah.
We don't. You're right. Like I said, I know my grandparents, and that's it. I don't know beyond that. And nobody ever cared. Nobody ever talked about it. Nobody ever looked into it. And maybe, I have a family member who might have, done some research and stuff like that. But it's not like we keep these photos up in our house, like in a Mexican household where you honor them. And then there's certain days that you honor children who have passed and pets.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then another day is, the adults and whatever. So there's, certain days where you honor certain souls that have passed. And when you do this work and you give them nourishment, food, water, and light, then you are healing them. They help you. They love you. They want to be able to help. And this is what I mean. Like, there's so much going on all the time.
We're just unaware.
All the freaking time. And this is all within the goddess. So you start to get to know her, and you don't even know where it's going to go. Like, I had no idea the kind of work that I would be doing now. And just, like my private energy work and stuff that I do, like just on my own, like I'm like, how did I even get here? And the goddess is just like, let's do the work and let's get it done, and let's move this whole thing forward, because that's what we have to do. We have to, the future is not set in stone. That's the number one thing, is we are living it day by day with the goddess. And I do believe that this is like kind of a scale thing. Like, she is so huge that she's already won and kind of, gotten rid of the demiurge's influence. But if she did that, and for us to actually feel that, it could be how many years later, just because of her time is so much different than ours. A night for her could be a century for us. There are ways, and JLL kind of maps this and has his own like math for this and stuff, but it's just a scale thing. So then the future is, I mean, she's already won just because she's an Aeon and just is better than Demiurge to begin with. But we have to opt in to her victory, essentially, and create that future day by day with her. Because as we create that future by choosing what we want to experience, not choosing fear, choosing beauty, care, love, honoring humans, and valuing our planet, valuing who we are, then that is what collapses the timelines into reality. Because she's already here. She's not going anywhere. She's an Aeon, right? It's up to us if we want to be a part of that. And it literally is just opting in on your own. It's like, okay, do I want to be with the goddess? Check yes. Then she's going to give you your own assignments. And who knows? Like, who knows what can happen?
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for telling the story.
Yeah, of course.
So I want to ask you, what would you say is your mission?
My mission is definitely just to connect as many people as possible to the goddess.
Yeah.
I want as many people as possible within my lifetime to work with her and have her as a partner, have that wisdom, so that, like I said, so that we can move this whole thing forward, because she does move your life forward. She is the blessing. She sets you free from the slavery and the bombardment and the psychic attacks and all this stuff that has been put on humanity simply because we were loved by, and we are loved by her. And the demiurge hates that. And so he piles on all these horrible, horrible, horrible things when you can just be like, oh, actually, that's not the real game that's going on. And this is what Mr. JLL and I talked about in that conversation, that if you don't know like the whole game board and you're just stuck here in the demiurge's game of like running around, you know, in the rat race and getting all stressed out, and you don't know that it's actually a part of something much, much bigger, and you can actually just be like, wait, I'm going to pay attention to the more that's going on, then yeah, you get stuck in this game and you think that's all there is. But of course it's not. Of course there's much, much more.
And so what lesson or message would you like the audience to walk away with today?
Just how powerful they are, that not only can your words with the energy commands that I do can and saying that with your own voice, that's why it's always repeat after me. Like I'm like, I want you, whoever else is doing
you're
it,
giving people their own power,
so that it comes from your own vibration, so that collapses reality and that you can see the results of that, right? So that is, I mean, if everybody knew how powerful they were, then our world would be completely different. And this is what the goddess shows you. So that's like kind of the twofold thing. Like once you know how powerful you are, then you're like, okay, like let me turn this up a notch. But it's what the goddess shows you. So when you work with her and you don't feel like you have power, she helps you find it. She helps you get it, because it's going to be under a lot of energetic junk, which is why energy work is so important, that we have to work on our chakra system and start to like literally exercise those. And this is what Jesus and Mary Magdalene were actually doing, was this energy work, was pulling out demons from the chakras and doing, you know, the yogic work, that ancient practice that
because Yeshua went to India.
Exactly. And we still have those practices today. And once you start to do that work, you see that it is the goddess helping you do it. You see that she is there beside you. You see that she's with you. It's in all, you know, the myth of Isis and Osiris. When Osiris is being put back together because he's dismembered, it's Isis who puts him back together. And you have the myth of Demeter and Persephone. When Demeter is going to look for Persephone, it's Hecate who is with her, helping her look and guiding her through the underworld with her light. So wherever you go, the goddess is with you. So then when you can kind of tap into that and like turn it up and be like, okay, like I actually do have power, I can do this, then the sky's the limit and you can really manifest crazy stuff from there.
And this goes for men too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, this isn't just women tapping in, and there's nothing gay or fruity about that, because I could just hear the comments, like some men probably feeling like, why would I tap into a woman, or like, why would I pray to a female or whatever? And that's just bad programming from religion and from a lot of lies.
Yeah. Honestly, in my experience, men who get it know that this is the truth too. They honor women in the same way. They know the magic of women and they respect it. And, you know, that's why, I mean, obviously I love Ruben with my whole heart. But something that I so value about our relationship is that his grandmothers were into brujeria. And so he already has that respect of the magic of women. And even sometimes he gives me tips, or he's like, hey, just make sure that you like add this or whatever, if I'm doing like a spell or something. Yeah. But that's what I mean. Like it's men that are like that are out there, and men who really have a grasp on true spirituality and aren't just, you know, using religion as power, then they honor the goddess anyways. They not new. They honor Mother Earth. They know Pachamama. They know Mama Ayahuasca. They know the truth of the goddess, and they honor and value and respect women and their mothers and their grandmothers, right? And that's the most, you know, I think the most beautiful thing a man can do is protect that. And that is, to me, that's the number one role for men is
agree.
let me do my magic and like let me do my little spells, and I need you to be outside making sure that there's no predators, making sure that nobody comes, and giving me the space to do this.
Yeah.
And
Protection.
yeah, and have my magic time. And that's actually what, and I don't know what tribe, but I've heard it on a podcast. There's an Aboriginal tribe where the women would go like into the mountain and they would do their sacred magic, and the men would just go all around it and literally have weapons to protect the women to do that, right? Like, I think that is the most beautiful thing that you could think of, right? And that's the male's role, is that protective, and men that get it, and the men that don't and they want to fight about it and they want to be more powerful than women, you are more powerful with women, right? And men at the top too, right? Like, they all have witches. They all are doing this work, and they're not doing the witchcraft. They get witches to do it for them. And like,
I think the women of Hollywood are very much so praised for that reason. Because like lust and glamour are like
magic,
big time. That's huge. When I learned about that, I had no idea. I'm like, oh my God, am I ever going to wear makeup again? But there's nothing.
Yeah, you can use it in a good way.
Yeah. But it's still magic, right? It's still putting on a mask. Yeah. And I think it's weird how, people do beauty pageants and they're just covered in makeup.
With the kids doing it too, it's too much.
Oh my God, it's crazy. I'm not even going to get into that.
No.
But I don't know how to thank you so much for being here. This is literally one of my dreams come true. So she is existing in my dream right now.
We're in the dream, baby.
I'm gonna cry. No, honestly, you were so loving. Like, you are the embodiment of the things that you say. You know what I mean? And that's why I appreciate so much that you were so generous to me with like your time and your knowledge. I just want to thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Awesome. And guys, don't raw dog life, okay? Go get her book. Check out her Instagram.
Goddess,
Get with the goddess. And if you have any questions, message her, because she is a goddess and she will respond. Are you enjoying my podcast? If you've ever thought about starting your own, I highly recommend my podcast coach, Serenity Grace. She is our digital midwife who guides women through the birth of their first podcast. Check out BeFreeSouls.com/Serenity Grace and mention the Dose of Dia for my special discount.